Hello everyone and welcome back to Faithful to the Traitors. We are here to discuss Series 2, Episode 6 of the UK series of The Traitors.
Very unprepared. You jumped into that. I wasn't ready. Hello everyone.
Well, you should be ready. I am Ben. I am, as I always will be, 100% faithful.
Hello, I'm Alex. I drank from that poison chalice yesterday, if you remember rightly, if you've been listening or watching this podcast.
I passed you that drink, didn't I?
I'm still dying. I'm now moving on to hot drinks whilst recording. This is all good fun. Anyway, I'm Alex and I'm also a faithful. Oh yeah, that's me.
Right, so I had a big bag this week. They went in, went to the round table and it was 30 minutes in and I thought, what's happening here? Something's about to go down and, we were moaning about the edits before.
Right.
Now they just kept showing us more and more footage all right into the night, didn't they? Bottles of wine were going, so...
Oh, well, that's because they had a challenge at the end of it. That's the only reason why. So they had something planned after the round table. So where you normally go straight to Traitors Tower, they had plans afoot for the faithful and the traitors afterwards to play with their mind even more. A little twist for the traitors, as they say.
But what we called it, Series 2 Twist.
Series 2 Twist.
Claudia's dance on Strictly.
What's the hell? Oh yeah, that could be that. Well, do you know? It surprises me actually that they've never done like a traitors themed dance on Strictly. Maybe they have. To be fair, I didn't watch last series much.
Or Children in Need Week, where they have to go to Blackpool. They should just go to the Traitors Castle instead and film a special episode of.
They could do a Christmas special where they just have ex-contestants from the Traitors. Who would you like to see dance the night away on Strictly on this one-off special?
Brian.
I thought you might say that. Jazz,
yeah.
Like he's got a bit of rhythm inside of him.
Jasmine.
Well, you don't forget Series 1. You can also look at Series 1.
I think I can remember people's names.
I know, it's difficult.
I do.
Aaron, of course, yep. Aaron. If you know, you know. As we used to say in Series 1, if you know, you know. If you've got any ideas of anyone who you'd like to see do a crossover from Traitors to Strictly, then please get in touch with us. You can email us faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. You can find us on X @TraitorsPodcast or Instagram @faithfultothetraitors. If you're listening to us, you can also watch us on YouTube. Just search Faithful to the Traitors Podcast on YouTube. You can also Google the exact same thing. I Googled us today, actually, when I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. I was in bed. I Googled Faithful to the Traitors because I don't think I've ever done that before. And do you know what? It brings up everything. Everything you can ever dream of comes up. So
even the YouTube channel.
So that's another route to our madness. But if you do find us on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, and give us a thumbs up so you never miss any future episodes because we're only halfway on this series. And there's also many, many other series to come. And if you are listening to us, please do give us 5 stars and a review if you enjoy listening to the podcast because it really does help the show. Another thing that helps the show as well, if you go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful and you can give us a gold coin. That will help us buy more drugs. So I'm saying more Lemsip, more paracetamol.
Do you know who does a good paracetamol?
Morrison's. Mm-hmm. So I hear.
But my call out for YouTube subscribers went well, so I'm going to do it again. Make sure you subscribe to our channel or else. Thank you. Right, this is a comment left on here, and you may be quite worried to hear this comment, okay? Well, both of us.
Are we in trouble?
No. Well, I don't know. Love your podcast once again this year. But the energy between you two feels a little off this year.
No.
Sometimes I think it's sarcasm. Wonder who she's talking about there. Couldn't be me. And sometimes I feel like you are low-key annoyed with each other.
I wonder who's talking about there. Couldn't be me.
Although I'll still be tuning in every time.
I think this is reference
address the rumours, please.
Well, I think this is referenced episode 4, where I told you off because you were just talking nonsense. But I now believe
pointing the finger at me.
You always tell me off, but I'm very expressive with my hands, as I say all the time. I say that on this podcast, I say it on another podcast, Comment Below podcast, also available on the same YouTube channel. I now believe that was the day before the way I'm feeling now. So I think it was the bugs inside my body that were being a bit miserable. But believe you me, this is nothing compared to the arguments and fights we have off camera.
So you're not going to...
So don't worry about that. If we're breaking up, you'll be the first to hear about it.
On the final, we'll be around the fire pit. Green or red? Are we ending our relationship? Yes or no?
Green.
We have to we have to both vote yes. Otherwise, we have to murder each other around the fire
That's
pit.
fine. That'd be an interesting YouTube channel. I wonder how quickly it would be taken down if you just saw this massacre on screen.
Okay, another comment on YouTube.
Yeah.
A, I'm faithful. B,
Who is
Vote.
this, by the way?
CJ Cookins.
Hi, CJ. Who was the last one as well? We should say hello to these people. They've taken the time to
Manchester.
say hello.
Manchester 1990.
Hello, Manchester 1990. I'm guessing, we're using my Tracy psychic powers, that you are 33 or 34 years old.
And from?
Manchester.
Possibly. There's definitely some family tie.
Manchester born and bred.
I was watching a video of a clairvoyant on TikTok yesterday, and she was shouting out. She was talking to this woman. She was like, and one eye. She was like, yep, that was my mum's cousin's sister. That was her. And I was like, mum's cousin's sister. Bingo. Anyway,
Yeah,
the one reminds me of Trey.
Twice removed. That's her. One eye, as in one eye in her name, or had one eye like a cyclops?
One eye. It reminded me of Tracy. Our Tracy. Very worried about her overnight.
Someone just be born with one eye in the centre, you know? That's what's missing in this world.
Leela was.
A cartoon character.
A, I'm a faithful.
Hello.
B,
Yes.
you're both adorable. So
Oh.
they aren't getting. Yeah, maybe we're not breaking up. Who knows?
They're flirting with us, trying to convince us to break up.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Idea for season 3: strip traitors. Each time a contestant votes and banishes an innocent, they have to remove one item of clothing in the subsequent episode. Brackets Andrew, definitely up for that.
Andrew's already removed all his clothing if you watch those VT pieces when they're in their bedroom. By the way, apparently, one of the ex-contestants from Series 1 said that those bits in the bedroom, they don't have a choice of what they're doing.
They're told.
Yeah, the producers basically, before they're actually filming anything, they all, one by one, go into the bedroom and then just do a couple of scenes. Yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
So do what they tell you to go in a bath, or you say, I'm going to go in the bath?
Well, I suppose they'll say, well, what do you like to do? And it's like, bath. So they give you a bath. So there's Charlotte going, putting bubbles
It would
everywhere.
yours be blowing your nose with a tissue,
It would be me dying every day
laying in the bed with wishing box of tissue next to you.
with Benylin in my hand, drinking it out of the bowl.
And finally, this is the same comment, by the way. I am getting there. And finally, as per Alex's request,
Hello.
there once was a lad named Brian
Oh, everyone knows how to cheer me up. Continue.
whose words in the game left them sighing.
Oh,
Seemed guilty, it's true. Eliminated, he knew. Yet his sex appeal kept their hearts flying.
I'm telling you, you guys are just amazing. Keep your Brian poems coming in.
There once was a player called Brian.
Is this another one? Who's
This
this?
is from Jeff,
Hi, Jeff.
whose words, his raw nerves, were tongue-tying. That was a tongue-tie in itself. And dug himself far too deep when compared to a sheep to stop all the votes that came flying. Flying has been used on every poem, I think, so far.
Brian's an easy name to rhyme with, though. Brian, lion, crying, flying, buying, Biden, trying,
Yes. So,
Mayan. I'm glad that he's got himself dug deep, though.
who? Brian.
Brian.
They didn't find his body.
No.
He wasn't rich anyway. He had no gold on him. There you go.
Rich,
That's
rich,
how...
rich on love and personality, though. Keep your poems about Brian. Let's make this a theme. Just keep your poems about Brian coming in.
Yeah.
Faithful to the traitors at gmail.com, or just comment below if you're watching us on the YouTube channel, or just put it directly to our socials. Like I say, if you Google Faithful to the Traitors, bing, hello.
There once was a guy called Brian. He lay in a grave crying. There you go, writes itself. Carry it on.
Got to finish it, limit. He
tossed and he turned.
He wanted to bleat because he's a sheep, and now,
His wall ain't flying.
yeah.
Love flying. Right, so that's if you want to get your comment read out on this beginning of each episode, then
Yes.
comment below on
And
YouTube.
have us
email us.
generally talk nonsense.
Exactly. Right, so should we...
But I should also apologise if we don't read out your comment. Please don't think it's a personal thing. Like I said in the last episode, we don't normally get comments, and now suddenly we're getting comments, and it's brilliant. We're getting so many. but we're not always possible to read them all out.
Thank you, BBC, for the free ad promotion.
I feel that way too. But thank you, honestly, please, because you've given us your time to listen not only to the podcast, but also send us your comments. We do love you all and appreciate it. 1,000,000%.
Even those of you who want us to break up.
But that's good though, because
wait for the final.
I'm looking for that profile later and seeing if it's worth the breakup. I'm always up for a.
Right, so shall we talk about the episode?
Stop there. Yes.
We had a murder, obviously. Diane didn't go.
No.
Charlotte didn't go.
Charlotte did not go.
Did you see it coming?
Tracy. How
many people have made that joke on Twitter? Who knows?
Everyone. Good. I'm glad, and I'm joining in on that.
Poor clairvoyant.
I mean, we both kind of said it was her time to go. And again, I don't mean any malice behind Tracy. It's just that I don't feel, to be fair, putting aside the fact that I have a real thing about clairvoyance, there's also the fact that I don't really feel like she participated in the game very much. And it did. Sorry, Harry.
As a traitor, you do want those type of faithfuls in the end review, because they'll just throw their fire in the flame and end it, won't they?
No,
she'll
too faithful.
I think Harry could have used her in the final. She would have been like, yeah, Harry. So I don't know. Maybe that wasn't a very clever move by the traitor.
Harry's kind of like, during the episode, I was really confident in the way Harry was playing. And then when it came to the chalice, the golden chalice challenge for the traitors, like panic set in. It was so funny. It's like, they lost all their cool instantly.
Well, I did watching
Harry, and you were getting real.
I felt sick watching it. I didn't like
hives. You were scratching your neck. You were having a horrible time.
It was Molly, Evie, or Charlie kept walking by, back and forth,
and Ross
looking in.
Ross even looked in as they were like looking for the book.
I wonder if they were walking past on purpose and they were talking elsewhere. They haven't shown us though, and they were like, "What are those three doing?" And he's going to run in and save his mum from poison. I don't know.
What, he's going to slap the chalice out of her hand?
Maybe. I don't know.
No.
They could go in and be like, "What book were they looking at?" Open it and there's a chalice shape cut out, and they're like, "Right."
It was very clueless, wasn't it? I quite liked it. It was like a murder mystery type scenario. It was like the chalice in the drawing room.
It made me feel sick.
With the Diane. But it did crack me up that Tracy's explanation was that the reason why she was evicted or banished or killed was because that she thought that the traitors were worried that she was seeing people's auras and being, to quote her, being quite psychic. Quite psychic. She's not giving her full potential of psychicism.
Why not, Tracy?
I know, if only she had, then she wouldn't be in this situation.
Learn a bit more about our trade.
I do. Then before we drink of Lemsip.
What's your name and where do you come from?
Thank you, Scylla. So, points for most intriguing job must have to go to Tracy, who is a sonographer and clairvoyant from Inverness.
Oh, you love this. She's from Scotland. Hello, Tracy. Inverness again. Not that
she didn't have to go far to the castle. The castle's in Inverness.
We can take the motorway up to Inverness ourselves.
Well, I think you've insulted her enough for 6 of them.
Come on over, Tracy. Come on over.
Yeah. She can read our auras and see if we are getting on still. Yes. The 58-year-old plans to trust her intuition, a bit of her intuition, and, quote, go in blind. Now that seems...
Go in blind.
Yeah.
She's not going blind.
But,
I'm going to trust my intuition and blind myself.
How do you trust your intuition?
Single eye.
Yeah. How do you trust your intuition and but then going blind? That doesn't make sense to me.
I guess it does mean the same thing, I guess, because you kind of switch on. If you turn yourself off as you go into a situation like this and don't judge people immediately, because again, this is a kind of situation where Anthony and Zach have found themselves where they've kind of gone in judging. Maybe Tracy's onto something. Going blind, trust your intuition.
Maybe.
Get a fork and poke your eye out.
Will she be, quote, terrified to be a traitor? She says that she's really good at lying, like Brian is at flying.
And a clairvoyant.
And is good at spotting other liars too, because she's such a good liar and she's one. Jeez. She would put the money towards retiring because she only does it a bit. I added that bit in it, yeah.
Okay, to say is that what it says?
But she she wanted to retire. She can't retire. She's going to have to keep polishing those.
But she's now got a guaranteed job on one of those high up channels on Sky, like channel 567, where you call a premium line and you can then get someone to read your cards for you live on television.
Mystic Meg died recently, so yes.
Oh, that's really taken me, that has.
Did you know?
No.
Well, Mystic Meg passed. Didn't see it coming. So there's a role for Tracy to step into.
It's mad to think that in the mid-90s that someone who read out psychic theories on a national lottery programme was seen as an icon in the UK.
Maybe the UK was always troubled.
Or maybe, that's a good point. I was going to say, or maybe we were always striking the curb, but no, I think you're right. I think we have always been a bit troubled.
Yes. So Tracy dead.
Tracy gone.
Claudia came in. She wants to keep the photo of Tracy.
She really
Not
liked
sure
Tracy, didn't she?
What's happening there?
I feel like that's
Lesbian
hints.
affair.
Wait, no. Let's not do that. I feel like it's a hint toward a game that's going to happen in next week.
Oh.
I do, because they did a preview, didn't they? And the first thing they showed, before you turned it off, the first thing they showed was Claudia in a funeral attire. So I'm presuming that was a hint to the next game. But that's a huge, wildly out there theory. Or it's a lesbian affair.
Or she's kidnapped Tracy and locked her in her.
Can you imagine?
Annex.
Can you imagine? That's very
in the dungeon.
It's very Holly Willoughby, isn't it?
And then she then announced to everyone that the mission wasn't until nighttime.
Yeah,
that upset everyone.
Super Mario-esque game, may I add?
Yes.
If anyone's played a Super Mario game, then you know.
It was it didn't sound difficult when she first explained it.
No, it sounded easy.
And then at the end, when she was like, "Oh, by the way, there's also spotlights," and they were like going like 10 minutes.
That's the Mario element.
They were going really fast, and people were hiding behind.
I didn't
Great.
do that. Yeah, so the light didn't directly go on.
And then they're like, "Look, seeing you." It's like, all right, that's not fair.
I would have misunderstood that rule too. So like Charlotte, who was like hidden behind a tombstone, I would have thought that would have meant that I was immune to the light hitting me. But no, that means you're still out. So yeah, they had to run around a graveyard and dig up graves and like tombs, and there was various amounts of money and shields in the different graves.
Tomb Raiders.
Which sounds easy enough. That did sound like a fun and easy game. They were Tomb Raiders. They were all Lara Croft. They were all Lara Crofted up.
Apart from Charlie.
Anthony had his chesties out, just like Lara. And then the lights started beaming around and they had to avoid them as well. And like you said, a lot of them didn't really understand that rule. And so right from the offset, there's about 6 or 7 of them that went out straight away.
Poor Charlie. She failed at all the missions.
Which was Charlie?
It's either Charlie, Evie, or Molly.
Yeah.
I think it was Charlie.
There's still not one gone. When's one going to go so we can start saying who they are?
I know, because they showed a shot of Evie, because I thought I'd got them down. And then at the round table, they showed a shot of Evie, and she looked really different. And I was like, wait, who's this? I thought it was the fourth one.
Evie and Charlie are the two that look really similar.
Yeah, but sometimes Evie looks then like Molly, because at the round table, it was just confusing.
You know what they need to do, don't you? They
name tags.
Well, yes, for the series, but then when they've left the show, they need to start their own girl band. They could be like
New Atomic Kitten.
Exactly what I was thinking.
And you don't know which one's your favourite, because they're all, you don't know which one's out of the New Atomic Kitten. You don't know which one's which, because they're all the same.
I'd love them to be our Eurovision entry this year.
I have hopes for Charlie, though, that she is going to do well on one mission one day.
One day.
I have hope.
Yeah, and then she'll get evicted. Or you
evicted.
Evicted. Oh, I'm sorry.
Not Big Brother.
Evicted. Oh, my brain's not working right. This is too late for me tonight.
Do not swear.
Do not swear.
Right, so yeah, they did the grave.
They won some money.
Jasmine got the shield again. She loves her shield.
She did. The jackpot. My God, is this bullseye now?
It was the lottery then.
The prize money is now at £49,550. I love the random numberness of that prize amount. I hate round numbers on game shows. Rounder the more obscure the number, the better. 49.
Need like a 49p in there or something.
I would love that. I would love them to put pennies in there as well. So it's like £49,550 and 42 pence. I'd be on board 100%. But then this is when the conversation started going toward the round table. And again, we were back to the Zach and Anthony show where they were flinging muck at one another. Let's be honest, it's a personality between them both. But unfortunately for Anthony, I feel like that he lost the battle at the round table when he started sniping and being very short with people. Jasmine being one of them.
I was going to say that was the moment when I was like, because yesterday's episode, you know how my feelings change within the minute. And this minute, I was like, because yesterday I liked Anthony and I thought it was unfair. Zach was speaking over him, not letting him speak. Jasmine had the same thing happen to her. And then Anthony goes and acts like a right
Child.
arse. Arse.
Well, he kind of
don't
said,
do
"Are you
that."
finished?" to Jasmine, and let's be honest, he backtracked very quickly. He was like, "Oh no," because you can cross wires and it'll be very confusing when people start
We all
talking to
knew,
one
we all
another."
sensed the tone.
No, he was belittling Jasmine as well, and you saw that later as well when he kind of like rolled his eyes after Jasmine's vote. So it was obvious that there's a tension between Anthony and Jasmine as well. I mean, Anthony didn't go in there making many friends, did he? Diane wasn't particularly a fan of his. Jasmine wasn't a fan of his. Zach wasn't a fan of his.
I think Charlotte turned on him. She likes to turn at the round table, Charlotte, I've noticed.
Yeah.
No, I love her. She's like, she looked like, at the end of the banishment, before she went behind the bar, she looked like a landlady of the Vic all of a sudden. Or like a landlady in Emmerdale or something like that. She just gave me a soap landlady. For a split second, she was there picking the balls. And...
Oh, Charlotte pulling a pint,
well,
getting the G&T from the optics in the background. Maybe there's a role for her in the future. Not on Doctors, because that's been cancelled. Can I also say that the group are also being a bit funny around Zach because they feel like Zach is. They don't think this is again, this happens every series. They don't think Zach is a traitor.
No, just don't like it.
But no, it's not even that. They feel like he's too distracting. Like he's kind of throwing ideas this way, that way, all over the place, up and down, round and round, over the big sea.
Messy bottom.
He is a messy bottom, and that's his problem. And he's having a lot of trouble trying to convince people with his ideas. While Jazz, on the other hand, which is something we've also talked about, is very good at directing his ideas. And what's more, he's putting the pieces together and they're fitting. And and it must be so frustrating.
And he's not falling for the lies either.
He's not falling for. There's a lovely story about him. It's not a lovely story. A very sad story about him. We learned that his father was a bigamist and that he had a second family. So he's used to knowing when people are lying to him. I love the way Jazz, though, is just very calmly and casually just getting the clues, putting them together. Every now and then, just dropping hints of what he's doing, what he's thinking about, so people are aware of what he's doing.
But he's not ready to say Port at the Round Table because he knows he may not have the support yet.
Yeah, because he said about Port at the Round Table, but then voted for Andrew. So he didn't vote for Paul. Which surprised Paul as well after they had the conversation later.
For him.
Because Paul did vote for him. Because Paul... And in a weird way, I think that's also a very clever tactic for Jazz because I think it's his way of showing the group that Paul is panicking and voting for Jazz. And why is Paul panicking? It might be because he's hit the nail.
Then he panicked again and then went and have this little private chat with him.
Now, this was an interesting conversation, wasn't it? Because he said to Jazz that Harry had told him that what Jazz had said before the murder, and that was that if he gets murdered, then it must be Paul who's the traitor. And he's like, well, why would he share that? Why would Harry share that with Paul? Why would
this was the moment where Jazz is like the most light bulb because he also then got Harry, I think, as well.
That's it. So why would Harry share that with Paul? Yeah. Why did Paul share that with Jazz if he didn't want then? That's almost a pointed finger toward Harry as well. So now he's got Harry and he's got Paul. And let's be honest, with this poison chalice, by the way it was done the most unsuspiciously way I've ever seen. I think Miles could be, if Jazz was in the room at the time, was in the room where the decisions were made, he may have noticed that as well.
Because I do wonder, because Jazz said that to Harry the last thing before they all got called away as well. So he may have been thinking, well, when did Harry have time to say this to Paul? Because Paul said, he said it to me yesterday.
It's also true.
So it's like, they must have said at the towers, 2 traitors.
Of that evening.
So, yeah, very impressed with Jazz.
But obviously Anthony got banished, and do you know what that means?
Oh, yes, I do.
We all know what that means.
What's your name and where do you come from?
You blow your nose.
I blow my nose, and you talk about Anthony for a bit.
Also,
independent.
This is my own fact file, thank you very much.
Of course. Not plagiarised at all.
Birmingham-based Anthony.
Birmingham?
Isn't that where Arcilla's from?
But no, she's from Liverpool.
Oh, is she?
Oh my God. I apologise to the people of Liverpool. You're like
Liverpool where Eurovision was?
Yep.
Oh yeah, of course, that's where
and I'm dripping.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
the home of the drag queen.
Birmingham-based Scylla?
Scylla Black, yeah.
Birmingham-based Anthony is preparing to transpose the psychological challenges of chess, the game he coaches, into the Traitors. The 45-year-old wants to be a traitor, but says he has a good poker face. He's
God, not just a
prepared.
good poker face, he's got a good face. 45, good-looking lad.
We all saw the vest. He's prepared to go, quote, all the way to win. As like in chess, quote, everything is expendable.
Yes. I mean,
He didn't go all the way. He wasn't a traitor.
he didn't go all the way. And
Didn't have a good poker face.
He
So what's
didn't.
going on?
And with chess, you're meant to think 2 moves ahead, and Anthony never did. He only saw what was directly in front
behind.
of him. Well, yeah, he just only saw what was in front of him. So Anthony didn't implement any of the rules of chess into his game, nor did he, like you say.
And it's rude for Jasmine, so that's automatic dismissal.
I mean, you love Jasmine, don't you? You've got a real thing for Jasmine.
yeah, I like her bits to
She
camera.
hasn't done anything solid
Yeah,
yet.
but I just like this thing. I
She
like.
hasn't
about
done
her.
a
I don't know
full
what it is.
stall yet. No, she hasn't though. She hasn't done anything she's kind of put out as an allegation has been wrong.
Well, the one thing I like about her is that she tells men that she's pissed off with them when they interrupt her. That's
I do like, yeah,
that's
she's
what I
a
like
strong
it.
woman,
So-
very strong woman, which is
what I
exactly how
like.
she should be. That's nothing against Molly, Evie, and Charlie,
Why are you bringing them into it?
because they're also strong women, as is
Everyone's strong.
Charlotte and Diane.
Right.
Diane, oh my God, Diane in the
Balance.
game.
Well, shall we now? We're at the end of the episode, so we have got to talk about the
Poison chance.
Series 2 twist, where the 3 traitors were brought in one by one to the diary room, if we shall call it that, with a message to say, the person who's murdering is going tonight before you all go home. We're dropping in some crates of wine for you all.
Yeah, that was convenient because Diane said like there's no more wine left.
Yeah.
Such a disappointed puppy as well when she said that. When she was like, there's none left.
Courtesy of Henry
Oh, Henry
from New
Zealand.
Zealand. He dropped some gin in for
Anyone
his
who,
Aunt Claudia.
anyone who listens to the podcast knows that we have a fabricated like
Fan fiction of
fan fiction. What's a law
Yeah.
toward all the presenters of the traitors around the world, and we think that
they're all a big family.
Henry is the uncle.
Right, we don't have time to go into this full
Okay, well,
background. We're about to end the show.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll do an episode about the law of traitors.
Maybe someone can write a fan fiction. Just let us know.
Write a poem about Henry. Now, what's all the man with gin?
He hated. Never mind.
Yes, let's not do that. Let's not do
Every religion.
more than that. But anyway, yeah,
Anyway, so they had to choose someone to kill, and the way that they killed them was they had to drink from the chalice.
yes.
This is very tricky because you
Fizzy Rosa.
can't really pick who you want to be like. Have a chalice. So everything
What
was-
happened though?
Yeah, but it was just awkward, and I didn't like it. It made me feel awkward the whole time.
Well, there was very awkward because they were scuttering around. First, they went outside the fire pit and had a conversation. And the whole
Jumping
time,
over
Harry was like,
benches and jumping down steps.
Yeah,
Zach
yeah.
came out and looked at them, turned around.
Miles asked where his water bottle was.
Yeah, never turned up with his water bottle. It was a big mistake.
No, Paul said, "Oh, I'm really thirsty. I'm going to look for my water bottle." As you said, no one found a water bottle. God knows where these water bottles are.
Sneaking off in pairs. Reminded me of
Yeah.
Heartstopper, Series 1
You-
during the party.
You
Looks like
said
they're all going to hook up somewhere in the bushes.
you said it was like George Michael going to the public
I
toilet.
didn't say George Michael. I said Heartstopper.
I know what you meant.
No.
It did feel a bit like that
It
though,
did,
didn't
didn't
it?
it?
Kind of one at a time, they kept going in
Yeah.
and out of the room. Yeah.
cruising around the castle.
Quick-
Spin off.
I'm surprised they've not made a porno.
Should have been
Why is there not a traitors porno?
cruising around the castle. Anyway, so
Yes.
they've picked someone, but we don't know. Well, do we know? I'm not sure. I don't know if the editors would be that obvious.
It seems obvious it's Diane because Miles basically said,
he
"Oh, I
wants it
really don't want to."
sparkly.
Yeah, he had wine put in his glass. He's like, "Oh, I don't really want this, Diane. You prefer flat."
Diane
Right.
picks up the glass bottle and ignored him for a bit, and then
Yeah.
kept going on about it. But I think this is where it gets tricky. I think Evie was stood next to her,
Mm.
and I'm wondering if maybe she's gonna get it.
I like the idea
By
of what you said earlier of Ross running in and slapping their glass.
She's
out of
my
her hand.
mother.
Yeah, yeah. She ain't my mother. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. What would have
It
happened?
can't be that obvious.
What would have happened if they hadn't done it?
No
at the
murder.
time? So there wouldn't have been a punishment for them. It would just been there was no murder.
I just think that no, it's
Okay.
more suspicion. I think
But I think Miles is such an idiot for deciding to do the deed. He's
he's the one who does the bar stuff. He said he's normally there pouring drinks. It wouldn't look. You have to make it not look. It's really difficult to this
hard,
stupid
isn't it?
chalice in your
Yeah.
hand. It's not like a glass.
because especially if you've got
It's
a group
like
of people.
prop from drama school.
Exactly. It's and like, there's no one else questioned like where this chalice come from. It's like they have a line of they do have a line of different glasses, to be fair, but like
But still,
if it just feels so obvious. And like I said earlier, Jazz is already on to Paul and Harry, and if he was in eyesight of seeing Miles do that, then he's got all three of them, and that's him done. I worry Jazz is going to end up being a traitor, by the way. I don't want Jazz to be a traitor. I like him as a faithful. Why can't people just stay as faithfuls?
I mean, it would be a shame if this is how Diane goes, but like it sounds like that's who Harry wanted, because he said, the person we're going after is a really popular character. She's really strong.
When he said it's the one he would have chosen.
Yeah,
as well.
so it sounds like it is Diane who they're aiming for.
Yeah.
And it cut off as she pretty much took the glass, didn't she?
It was like,
yeah.
and then it cut.
That's when Ross burst.
You need to watch the video to see my impeccable acting there. I'm just not wearing the red bob, sadly. I'll get it from the costume department later.
I don't know I can't really see what's going to. The only thing I can see is she looks and be like, oh no, I don't want it, and then Evie takes it or something.
I would love it if Diane looked Miles directly in the eyes, figures out that there's some kind of weird game going on
You
here.
drink it.
Yeah, no, or just kind of just tipped it out in front of him.
On his head.
Threw the glass out the window. Claudia's outside looking in. And I think it's too obvious for it to be Diane.
I'm wondering if they were all walking back and forth through the door, and they're going to show us they were doing a little plan themselves. Because Ross kept walking by, and Evie I think it was Evie who was also next to her.
I can't really remember. I remember seeing Diane there with a bottle. Yes, a blonde woman. and a blonde woman, unnamed blonde.
I live in hope that that's what they've done. They've sort of worked out, and they were like, but then that means Miles going to get caught.
I feel like the traitors are on borrowed time, I have to say.
Yeah.
I feel like they've...
But I still think Harry's okay, as long as Jazz is...
I think Jazz has figured it out. No, Jazz is being quiet, but he will soon explode, and he will convince... I think he'll get Paul out, and then on the strength of Paul getting out, he'll then convince everyone to get Harry out.
If he's not recruited.
But I hope that if he is asked, he'll have the option to say no, and I hope Jazz will say no, because I think Jazz is stronger and he should see his worth as being a faithful rather than a traitor.
And I was worried for Jazz when we got his backstory randomly. I thought, the producers have been like, could you just quickly ask about his backstory so we can get you getting murdered tonight? And I thought, he's going to get the chalice, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. So
I feel like that the traitors had a bad hand, actually, because this clearly was implemented, so it was
one of them go.
It was a clue. It was a clue for everyone, because
Claudia said, anyone who wants jam, watch out for them as well. It's like 2 seconds earlier.
After Miles was like, where's the jam? Everyone was going to Tracy. Where's Tracy? Oh, Tracy, no, Tracy, she's dead. No. And then Miles literally just went, where's the jam? She did.
Claudia walked in and said, anyone who wants the jam, watch out for them.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Okay.
So Claudia is dropping hints. They're just choosing to ignore them.
We have to wait for days now to find out.
No, we have to wait till next week.
Gives people lots of time to get in touch with us, though.
You look at you. You're hot tonight. Yes, plenty of time to get in touch with us with your theories. Is Diane going to be poisoned by the chalice, or is there someone else in their sights? Get in touch with us via email, faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. You can message us on X @TraitorsPodcast or Instagram @FaithfulToTheTraitors. As I say, you can watch us on YouTube just by searching Faithful to the Traitors Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell and give us a thumbs up, and comment below on the video with any of your theories and thoughts. You'll never miss an episode if you do all four of those things. I guarantee it.
You carry on.
Yep.
Someone's just bought us a silver bar. Oh, thank you very much.
Their name?
Not yet, but I've got a comment that says, I love your podcast so much better than the BBC One heart face. So I'm assuming Ed Gamble.
Of course. Thank you, Ed. I will try to log in quickly. Well, I mean, if anyone else wants to buy us a coffee, it's buyusacoffee.com/faithful, and that's another way you can help with the podcast.
While you're looking at that, then, we had an email from Jason. Said, boys, love the podcast. My second highlight of the day. The show is obviously number one. You were going on about the owl, but wondered if you'd noticed a stuffed animal on the wall has adapted a winkle fringe.
Yes, the deer, we have.
I'm devoed that Hot Brian has gone. I'm undecided if Ross or Harry is now the hottest. Asking the big questions, he says, what do you think? We obviously are much more highbrow than that, so we're not going to...
We're not going to slut shame.
No. Just...
again, I think they want to keep their name anonymous.
Fine.
So we'll say thank you, someone, for giving us a gold coin. Very, 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 very thankful. Gold coin. This is the UK version.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have to exchange.
So as I say, that's one way you can help the show. Another way you can help the show is if you are listening to us, you can subscribe to the podcast and then give us a 5-star review. And in the 5-star review, tell us, what would you have put in that poison chalice to drink?
What if you don't drink alcohol? How would you then give it to someone?
Vimto. Fizzy Vimto.
Well, if I'm on series 3, I'm not accepting drinks from anyone.
You literally said that when we were watching. You said, well, I don't drink. So how are they going to get me to do it? It's like, you still have
I
to
only
drink water.
from water, only from a bottle.
Can you imagine if you don't drink anything at all? Like
eat
for
or drink.
the whole 14 days, you just sit there and stubbornly just say to the producer, no, because you might kill me.
Wasn't there someone on the Canadian series who refused to eat once because they thought it was poison? I thought, sure she did. It was really funny. And then when the presenter said that's the twist, she was like, okay. And she got a big full plate for herself.
I do remember
Something like
that,
that.
but I can't remember who it was. But it was very early on. Yes,
Wonder
they
if it was
refused to eat.
Kuzi?
It was
Kuzi?
Kuzi. Yes, they were sitting around the table and they had to make. There was a twist, wasn't there? There was a decision and they had to make.
Something.
Yes, and it
She
was
worried that the
Kuzi.
food was poison.
Yes, she thought that she genuinely believes that the TV production crew was trying to kill her for real.
Right.
And so this is why you need to listen and watch the rest of the Traitors out there. You see, listen to all of our podcasts. Come on, get us out there.
Right, so we will see you all again next week for the next 3,
Yes.
bringing us up closer to the final, isn't it? So while we're away, obviously, stay safe and stay faithful.